Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Mamlaka Broadcast. My name is Ambassador George, broadcasting from one of our studio here in Germany. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. We are always grateful to have you with us. And remember, you are not only listening to us or watching us, you are also playing a role of ambassador. So, to influence the area where you find yourself to be. So, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We are so grateful and joyful. So, may the day be the leader the Lord make. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you one more time for your time. So today we have a very powerful topic that we will talk about influence. It's a very wonderful topic. Welcome, welcome, Ambassador Veronique from the US. So we have a wonderful topic today, and it's a topic that blessed me, and I'm sure it's going to bless you all too. Leadership influence, and we could even put it as a law of influence because it's very, very important. It's something that cannot change. It's something that is stable. It's something that is unshakable. Once you have it, once you find yourself in that kind of position, you are a leader. You are an effective leader, and so doing, you are unchangeable. So thank you very much, and without any further delay, I will let us go straight away into the scripture, and see how God put it to us very simple, to the quality of leadership. And to do that, we're going to go into the Bible, to have one of an illustration of influence as a leader. Let's go, let's go. Welcome, welcome, Ambassador Thierry from the US. Hallelujah. So that's what we're going to talk about today. It's a very powerful topic, and I really want you to pay attention, beloved, because here you're going to learn a great lesson. Because, as you know, the Bible, God says all of us we are leader, and being a leader, it means that we have influence. That is our role. So, how does it work? First of all, before moving into our topic, we have to first learn what it means to influence. You know, And the Bible says the true measure of leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You see, influence is a powerful tool. As a leader, we all have influence, absolutely. And but we have to learn that just be named as a leader is not enough. To exercise to exercise that leadership and put it into practice is another thing. You have to go through training. You have to learn, uh, um, to develop those skills in you, even though God put it in you, but you have to develop them. So, and one thing also is that when we say influence, we start thinking about maybe leadership influence kingdom. Amen. So when we think about influence, we're already thinking about people who are CEO of companies, directors of company, but we don't know that we influence everything around us each in our life. We influence our time, we influence our attitude, our character, our home, our children, at workplace, everywhere we find ourselves, we are an influence. We influence people, maybe by what we say, by the way we act, by the way we react to situation. That is influencing. So it's not something that is so above of our understanding. It's very basically. So now, what happened? As we spoke previously, in our past lesson, we talked about the tribe of Israel moving from Egypt to the promised land. There's a positive and negative influence, absolutely. So they move now, we know that they were in Egypt suffering in slavery. So the Lord now decided to move them into a promised land. And we know what happened along the way. We know that there were resistance. And we spoke about it previously. We say that there were spies that Moses sent to go and spy the land and see how the land is, kind of like to bring some fruit, bring some proof that the land is fruitful, that the land is a promised place to be, it's a fruitful place to be. So that it will motivate also the tribe, because on those days there were 12 tribe of Israel. So they went, and when they brought the report was not too positive, because 10 of them, what they saw there, they magnify it, they mix it with fear. They saw giant, they create such a kind of like story, scary story. So it did not make, it was not a good news for the whole tribe. People were devastated. But fortunately, there were two people among the whole group who decided to stand on what was positive, and that was Caleb and Joshua. But today, we could talk mostly about Joshua. So, what made Joshua stand so strong, despite all the negative around him, despite all the negative opinion of all the other 10 people, 10 people that they were sent to go and spy the land. This is what we're going to learn today. Leader do not possess influence in every area. You see, you don't possess influence in any area. Those selected to spy out the promised land were leaders. That means Joshua was a leader with some influence, but his influence apparently didn't outweigh the order of the other 12 leaders. You know, and before we go into everything, I know that there's in leadership, there's five level of leadership. There's five. But today we're going to talk about the first one. The first one is position. You know, position, what did it mean? You were born as a leader, or you went to school, you study to be a leader, you become a CEO, a director. So they hire you in the company based on their competence, based on their study. They trust you. But unfortunately, that position, that leadership position, has also its negative, because when you are in that first position, that position one, as just a leader based on your diploma, on your study, you know, you are not a leader who is familiar with relationship. You are there just like a boss. We know what a boss do. Boss just give orders. Boss doesn't care, or your family is sick, or you have an opinion to the project. You have an opinion to the project that the boss, that the company has to all of you. No, the boss doesn't care about that. The boss is there just to give you order, and that for you to execute. So that's what they call a leadership position. So you don't care about those around you, and that is not a good thing. So in this particular case, why did the first time the influence of Joshua did not really did not outweigh those of the 11 people? Because Joshua thought that because he was selected of one of the tribes as a leader, he has that influence. No, he thought that his position, the position that he has, was enough to influence all the tribes. No, it doesn't work like that. Joshua have to go through process. So now that's what we're going to learn. Our influence is either positive or negative. If all 12 spies had given a good report of the promised land, the people of Israel likely would have obeyed God and crossed into the land. That's you know and trust into the land. But influence is a two-edged sword. It cuts both positively and negatively. The 10 unfaithful tribal leaders use their influence to lead the people astray. A disaster for those leaders and for all of their followers. So that's why Ambassador Verinique said earlier, that influence has it can be positive, it can be negative. In this particular case, unfortunately, it was negative, because the majority, they use the influence instead to motivate, to encourage their follower, but to lead them astray. They describe such a kind of like a fear. They magnify their fear. They did everything to bring fear into the people. They did everything to hinder those countrymen to follow them into the promised land. You see, that was very negative. So it can happen. So influence is not always to lead people in the right path. You can also use the influence to discourage people. You can use the influence, because influence is very dangerous. That's why to be a leader, you have to be very, very careful. And also as a follower, you have to know the person that is leading you. You have to be very, very careful. I think it's more is more a responsibility for a follower to know which kind of leader is following. It's very, very important, because a leader who have influence in you, it can also have influence in your emotion. It can have influence in everything, in everything that really touch your heart. It can use it as a manipulation. So we have to be very careful. Faithful leader use their influence to add value. This is what faithful leader they do. They use their influence to add value. Influencer will lead out of a desire to advance their own agenda, manipulate the people for their own gain. That is what the other 10 spy did. Some leader with wrong mentality. Yeah, negative influence with wrong mentality. Absolutely. So some leader will use, their influence to back up their own agenda. They don't tell you, so they just take you as a follower for you to help them to accomplish their goal. They don't really care about you. They don't even care about if you have an opinion. They don't care about it. It's just for you to make sure that you do what they want for them to achieve or to remain in their position. It's very dangerous. So they lie, claiming the land devour those living in it. On the other hand, Joshua and Caleb desire to move, to motivate their countrymen to do what will be benefit to everyone. Always the agenda of great leaders. So the agenda of great leader is a leader that move from me to we. It's a leader that see the benefit not only for himself, but for everyone around him. You see the benefit of the team that is leading. He want them also not only to follow him, but they are growing together. As they are moving, as he's moving as a leader, those who are follow also start feeling as following a great leader, and so doing them too. Also, in the future, they become leaders. So, it's very important. With influence come responsibility. Maybe the 10 unfaithful tribal leaders didn't want to start a rebellion, yet that is what they did. Following their negative report, the people sought to depose Moses and Aaron and return to Egypt. As a result, those 10 leaders died of plague and all of their followers died in the desert. So it's very, very dangerous. Their influence can also break out a rebellion. But in this particular, people did not start in stoning Moses and so on, but they used just the fear, their negativity to lead to create a rebellion. It was also a rebellion they saw, even though it was not kind of like physically throwing stone or hitting people, but it play in the mind of people, and so doing, people move into another direction. But unfortunately, those kind of leadership and those kind of unfortunate follower that believe of the opinion of the majority, you know, as a follower, of course, it's very difficult to discern which kind of person is leading you, because they send those people, they went and spied the land, they brought a report. So, and the problem is there were many, out of the 10, out of the 12, there were 10 people that were saying something negative. And so doing unfortunately, majority of the countrymen, they follow their opinion. And so doing there are consequences also to those kind of fake leadership, all those the 10 and all their followers, they die in the desert. They could not move because the fear that they develop grip them. The fear is stopping them to move into the promised land. So now, Joshua growing influence. How does Joshua influence grow? Many individuals who are at first seem ineffective as leaders give up. Sometimes when you feel like you are not effective in leader, as a leader, you tend to give up. And that's what happened where we find people drug addicted, people want liver, they depend on the state to feed themselves. We find people on the street. Honestly, most of those people sometimes is because at some point they did not really know that they were a leader, or at some point they refused, they did not want to carry the responsibility of that leadership. Because I've got a chance to ask some people, on the street, why are they living in the street instead to have all those opportunities that are here where you have a home, you have a job, and so on. They told me this. They told me that because they don't want to carry responsibility. They don't want to make sure that every month they pay bills and so on. That's what they told me. You see, that is a devastating statement, but it's real. They told me that. I'm talking about people who have, when they study, you can find engineer and computer engineer, many things on the street. Those are not just people that have nothing in their brain. No, they are very smart people, but unfortunately, the fear of taking responsibility as the leader that they are, to take that responsibility and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. It kept them away from their goal, and so doing, they are dying just like those people that wanted to go back to Egypt. They prefer to go back into slavery. That's why most of people now go back into the street, into drug addiction, and sometimes they just die like that. Very smart people. So he determined to become a great, but Joshua, fortunately for the nation of Israel, Joshua did not fit that mold. He determined to become a better leader despite his setback. Joshua continued to be faithful to God and to learn as much as he could from Moses. So this is one thing also that is very, very important. We have to also learn to look for a mentor. Look for a mentor. Look for someone that you really admire. Look for someone that you see something in that person. You also see that person, and you see the action. You see the action of the person. You see the result that the person is bringing on the table. It's good also to look for someone that you can really follow and learn from the person. Someone as a good role model. A true leader take ownership, responsibility, and absolutely. So Joshua influence grew because of his relationship with Moses. This is how Joshua influence grew. Through Moses' mentorship, Joshua not only polished his skills, but the people accept him as their leader. The Bible said that as Israel prepared to enter the promised land, Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the presence of all Israel, be strong and courageous, for you must go with these people into the land that the Lord swore to their ancestors to give them. And you must divide it among them as their inheritance. In such a way, Moses imparted of authority to Joshua. You see, this is what a mentor do. A genuine mentor, he encourages his mentee. He released that power upon his mentee. You see, it's not a kind of like mentors where they just pretend, they just want to keep their mentee where they are. They don't want to see their mentee grow. They don't want to kind of like give up the baton. They keep their position. And that's what we see into this world today. That's why many places, many team or many company are crumbling, because those who are in the position, they just care about their position. They don't care about those that are contributing for them to be where they are. It's very dangerous. So sharing give you the opportunity to move forward. Joshua influence grow with time and maturity. Joshua gave basically the same speech in number 14 that he delivered in Joshua 18. The difference, the second time a mature Joshua spoke to a new generation, the people had seen his leadership skills in action, and his track record as a leader gave them the confidence to follow his direction. You saw leadership is not something that just happened overnight. No, no, no. Leadership doesn't just happen overnight. It's a process. It's a learning process. It's a learning process. And we see how in the first time Joshua fell, because he thought that his position as a tribe leader give you the influence upon the whole tribe. No, it doesn't work like that. He has to go through a process, and we see how Joshua is maturing, he's become more stronger. He keep the faith. He failed many times, but he keep moving forward. He search for a mentor. He search for someone that will encourage him, that will keep him pushing him to the goal. That's very, very important. So people start following because they start see action, leadership skill and action, and also his track record. People don't also follow you just because you're a leader. They also want to see your skill in action. They want to also to know that you have a track record. They want to see what you have achieved, what you have accomplished in your own life. They don't just want to hold on to your word. Joshua influence grew because of timing. Sometimes a leader will leader influence until his follower want to go somewhere. Only when the Jew tired of wandering in the desert did they heed the word of Joshua. In number 14, the people responded to Joshua's first exhortation to go in and take the land by loudly suggesting that he be stoned. In Joshua 1, they responded by saying, whatever you have commanded us, we will do, and whether you send us, we will go. You see, things start changing. Things start changing. Joshua is growing. The influence is growing. People are saying how his lifestyle, how he move, how he conduct himself, how he take care of those who's following him. So people start trusting him. So leadership also have to do with timing, with maturity. We have to grow. Leadership is not a thing that you can just say, okay, in 1 year I'm going to be a great leader. In 10 years I'm going to. It's a long life process. As you grow, that's how your influence also grow. And not only because sometimes we think that to be a leader is just to go influence other people. It's all about to go and lead other people. No, a really leadership start with us. While we are doing that, we are growing in the process, we are learning in the process. That's what a mature leader can really reveal himself. Is someone that grow from inside out. Following the example of a great mentor that he chose, to follow, and follow the example is very, very important. And also the timing. You don't just, there are things happen. You have maturity, you have the timing. You don't have to precipitate. You have to go according to the timing. Just make sure that you are keeping growing, you are keeping moving forward. Lifelong process. As you grow, we influence. Absolutely, Ambassador Thierry. Joshua influence grew because he possessed patience and integrity. This is one of also the powerful thing. Patience and integrity. We talk about maturity, we talk about time. Now we are talking about patience and integrity. And also the relationship with first name relationship with Moses. That was one of part of the growing process of Joshua. Joshua influence grew because he possessed patience and integrity. Joshua continued to grow patiently even after the people reject his word in number 14. While neither he nor Caleb died in the wilderness, as did all those who rebelled against God, nevertheless they both were forced to wander in the desert for 40 years, through, through no fault of their own. Such an unfair turn of events could have turned Joshua into an angry, melancholic, disgruntled, and cynical man. Yet he became none of those things. Throughout the long wilderness journey, he continued to display great consistency and credibility until at last the people were finally ready to follow. You see, this is what a great leader is, a mature leader is. A mature leader is patient. You see, a mature leader is patient and he keep integrity. Joshua has choose to do right. He have choose to walk into integrity. You know, for him, it doesn't. For him, did not mean how long it's going to take until he makes sure that the people really understand that there's something great above the desert. There's something great beyond the desert. There's something great in the promised land. He decided to be there until they come to understand that there's something wrong, until they decided to move into the promised land. You see, and for that, he paid a price to be there for 40 years, a decision that could have made sense. They could avoid all those 40 years in the desert. But at the same time, Joshua and Caleb had the opportunity to move forward. They could have said, okay, you don't want to go, we are moving, we are going. So that is what we are talking about, leader who have a different mindset. We saw that Joshua started with a mindset of position, thinking that he can use his position to just influence people. It did not work like that. Joshua have to mature. He has to grow up. He has to learn how to discipline himself, to know what maturity is, to know what timing is, and now know how to be patient and intake. But the one thing that I really appreciate in Joshua is that he decided from the beginning to do right and to stand on his feet. And we see this is what a great leader is. He could have given up here. They mentioned the Bible, he could have been angry with God, angry with people, just abandon them, and just move forward. But that was a leader who moved from me to we. You see, this is another position of a leadership. This is about relationship. This is a leader that doesn't just the leader that doesn't believe that his position it depends on his position. No, it's a leader who know that the people, it depends also on his followers. It's a leader who know that his value can only measure according to the value that also he put in all those who are following him. That is a great leader. A leader that don't just want to move by himself, a leader that want to grow together with his followers. Not only growing together with them, but also give them the opportunity to even replace him with a time, also to sharpen their also leadership that God put in them. That's what they call a great leader. That's how a great leader move. So leadership is not just a year or a month or whatsoever process. It's a lifelong process. It's something that you will never reach the top. So to measure your leadership is always constantly ask yourself how far I can go. It's not to say in 5 years I will be such a so. No, it's just how far I can go. That's how you grow. It's a process. It's very process. It's a process. Joshua influence grew because he was right. Very important. From the beginning, Joshua tried to do the right thing. He attempted to lead the people in the right direction. After the exodus from Egypt, most of Israel considered his word foolhardy and rash. Yet Joshua's word stood the test of time. His message never changed, and eventually everyone saw that he was right. Leadership is all about influence, and Joshua demonstrated that influence comes down to character and conviction. So this is what make a great leader. A leader who decide from the beginning to do right. So this really, really touched my heart because in no matter which condition, no matter how life is, no matter what is happening, the best thing for you is to always have the principle to do right, to do things right. Always look for the best in any situation. Best. Joshua was patient. He waited for 40 years in a situation that he did not need to be in, but he stayed there because he was patient. He did not want it just to move by himself alone. He wanted to move with people. He wanted to make sure that the thing that he has, the mentorship skill that he has, that he also developed on those who was around him. He wanted them to understand. He wanted them to be part of the project, to be part of the vision that they have. That's what great leader is. A great leader is patient. A great leader is a leader, as I say, who move from me to we. That's what make you a great leader. So Joshua influenced because he was right. So be right is always constantly search to do right. Yeah, it's a process, it's absolutely a process. Always search to do right, despite what you can be going through, but do your best to always do right to make sure that you are telling the truth to people, leading to the right place. Very important. And leadership is all about influence. That's what leader is about. That's what leadership is. So demonstrate that influence come down to character, and influence come down to character and conviction. You have to be convicted. If you are not, you don't have about a vision, you can't really follow it. If you don't have a good character, you can't do where you want to be. So, Beloved, thank you. That is what I have for you today. I hope it has blessed you. But before I go, we have 4th of November, Saturday, 4th of November, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. There will be a wonderful global leadership forum, and our Queen Veronique, will be speaking about the major, the catalyst. Is very, very important about the major of today because we see how the major also is using people, taking them from the right way to the wrong way, bringing people astray. So our Queen Victoria is going to be talking about it. So really, beloved, and it's a free entry. You just have to register. Everything is free. You get freedom. You are free to come and be blessed and be enriched, be all what we'll be saying on that day. So remember, Saturday, the 4th November, don't miss it. You have Amen. Amen. Major as a catalyst. So follow us, like us. We are in YouTube, we are in Facebook. Yes, my session at 2 p.m. Yes, Queen Victoria, Veronique. Absolutely, it's going to be powerful. So follow us, like us. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are any platform the Lord created that we have the opportunity to be there. Subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up. We make sure you'll be always be the first to be notified. So see you at the top, and don't forget Saturday, the 4th of November at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Be there and see you at the top where Eagles live. Bye bye.